Now this is a 1979 Ford F600 factory 4x4. Started out life down in Texas, more than likely working in the oil fields. It does have a sticker up here on the windshield having been registered in Texas. Somehow it made its way all the way up to Ludington, Michigan, where it was used to spray dye on a Christmas tree farm. Bought this Labor Day weekend this past September. I need something to haul a bunch of my equipment around between some different properties. The front axle is an FDS 75 Rockwell. It's even got old Selectro mile marker hubs. Standard 6 on 8 3/4 lug pattern. It's running 920 tires. The rear axle on this is a Rockwell H170. Normal power steering. This does have a steering assist cylinder over here on the passenger side. This isn't paint that's on the truck that makes it look black or purple in color. That's the dye from the Christmas trees. It's right around 1/8 of an inch thick and it's kind of rubbery. I started stripping some of it on the other side. It's got a pair of chassis mounted fuel tanks. I'll swap those out for some side step tanks. Convert one into a hydraulic tank for the passenger side here. Now I'm going to add a hydraulic pump, because my plans for this is to take off this bed, build a different flatbed. I've got an old Braden 15,000 pound PTO winch with cap stands. I'm going to mount up here at the front, up by the bulkhead. So when I go and buy other dilapidated equipment, I've got an easier way to load it. This truck does have a factory double frame, although it's not a double C frame. It's got a inverted L style on it, so stops a little short of the bottom, but it does wrap all the way around the top. It stops right behind the front frame spring hangers, and it extends all the way up to just under the cab. It does have rear shocks, something you don't always see on these trucks. Don't have a lot of clearance between the tire and the bottom of the bed. I think I measured that up to be about 6 inches. And between the lift block and the frame is 6.5. So if you bottom out, you're definitely going to be hitting the bed. Drum brakes front and rear. Somebody put on some 19.5 super singles for the rear. Those are going to come off and go back to standard 920s on it. The frame was added onto. I welded on a chunk of channel iron on both sides. That'll be coming off one of the gussets for their bed mounts. Kind of the same way all the way down. Half the welds are broken for the cross members to the floor plate. a rear axle tag there. This truck does have hydraulic brakes on it. It's got a vacuum booster mounted up underneath the driver's side cab behind the step there. Divorce transfer case, another Rockwell unit. I think it's a T223. Not 100% sure on that. It's got some broken brake lines. Not sure if both fuel tank worked. Here's the old brake line from when that leaked, and they put a new one. They just didn't pull the old one out. Not much of a wiring harness. Most lights don't work. Rear hitch. Not much to it. Probably just used for pulling hay wagons. Pipe bumper. Yeah, that's their hitch for this. So somebody just welded that on to haul hay wagons around the Christmas tree farm with. Another fuel tank. There's the brake booster. It's got a single circuit, single cylinder master. So brake fluid comes in the top there up by the actual diaphragm, goes in, comes out right back here next to the bleeder valve, and it feeds the entire truck, both front and rear. That's going to get replaced with a Hydromax unit. There's a transfer case. It is a 2-speed. It's got a high range and a low range. Exhaust is going to get redone. It is a Clark 5-speed. 5th gear being direct, non-overdrive. Chelsea PTO. Tag on that. I got to clean that up. I think it's a forward and reversing PTO. Not completely sure. I got to do some more digging on that. That comes up to and out to the front of the truck, which I believe they had a front-mounted PTO winch on. Everything on here is just leaking. Seats oil everywhere. I haven't taken it down the road. I don't trust it. So there's going to be a lot of stuff getting done to it. Greasy steering knuckles. It is an open knuckle design. That's where I started doing some stripping of the dye on it. So it was about 1/8 of an inch thick. Kind of turned out rubbery. Original color is Ford Rangoon Red. I got to do some more work on getting that cleaned up. Now some of it didn't come off at all. Require several applications of paint stripper and a whole lot of sanding. Bunch of dents to the hood. I think somebody dropped something on it at one point in time. The cross bracing underneath this. It's all bent, falling down. So that's got to get fixed. It does have a 370 Ford big block in it. It's part of the 385 series engines. It's a 429 460's little brother. Somebody swapped in a GM 10SI one-wire alternator. So, well, this being a 79, it does have Ford's DuraSpark 2. I don't worry about points or anything. That's the master cylinder for this truck. Gear style power steering pump. Cooler somebody mounted in the engine bay. That's going to get removed, and I'll end up putting one in front of the radiator. Electric fuel pump. This thing's got a carburetor on it like I haven't seen before. That's getting swapped out with something different. I've got one. Data tag for the engine. A lot of random not hooked up stuff like the heater hose. So that guy's supposed to go up in here. I already swapped some new cab lights on it I had lying around. Front of the cab's dented in, top of the cab's got some dents in it. Yeah, something fell on top of that and definitely bent it. That's where I'm suspecting they had the PTO winch mounted. That was all field fabricated. Not very well. Both door panels are broken. Fuse box. Got a combination of glass fuses and auto reset circuit breakers. It's kind of surprised this sticker survived. Even more surprised it still has the factory AM radio in it with the bezel. Usually those are long gone. Park and brake handle. 4-wheel drive shifting lever. High-low lever. Five speeds. That lever is to actuate the PTO underneath. So like I said, I still got to do some digging to find out if that's an actual forward reversing PTO or not. Usually they have a tack mounted right there. Obviously that's gone. None of the gauges work. Doubt that the mileage is correct at a little over 59,000. It does have a vacuum gauge. Some of the trucks had them, some didn't. That guy there, that's a line lock for brakes. Actually works out pretty well for winching operations. So you can lock in your standard parking brake, and then you would push your hydraulic brakes in, and then flip that up, release your brake pedal, and now all four of your wheel brakes are locked up too. Disengage it, just pull it down. Catalyte wirings there hanging down. Looks like there's a leak somewhere. The cab support's coming down. Door weather stripping is rotted off, falling, cracked, broken. Same thing with the glass. Weather stripping. Most of that's gone, broken. Floorboard's got some nice holes in it on the driver's side. Passenger side's still fairly solid. So this is going to be kind of my ongoing project for the next several months or more. I'm going to finish getting the rest of that die stripped off of it. Get it back down where I can at least sand it and get some decent paint on it. Build a new flatbed for it. Get these side saddle tanks mounted up. This is the one I'm going to end up converting over to a hydraulic tank. I'll end up putting a welded bung on here, and a filter for the draw. Probably the returns in through the top. Both these are right around 55 gallons. These were on my F700. I ended up taking those off. They're not going to work for that truck's intended purpose. So we'll go on this one. So this will be a fun little project. Time consuming, but should get me one step closer to what I want to do. Alright, thanks for watching.